What's happening, everybody? Welcome to episode 44 of the NBA Files. Yes, I'm grinding.
We call that the Obama episode.
My man, Everett, Terry Jr., I'm Kwame, Fisher Jones. We are back. So when we do 45,
we're just going to call that the no name
Nobody
episode.
respects 45.
We're going to call it the Karen Head episode.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Speaking of terrible.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball. Talk to me. All right, well,
he almost had a triple-double.
Hold on. Let me
you not going to bash my man. Like, we're not going to start off the show with that.
Don't let me tell them to run the tape about how much love I have for the Ball family and how much despise and disdain you have for
the
them.
father, but not for the son. Go ahead.
The father created the son.
Come on,
sun,
man.
moon, and
Did you
stars.
see what that man said after the game?
Let me set the table.
Big baller brand up 12%. Come on.
That's right.
I'm out.
I love
Even when we lose, we win.
So Lonzo Ball comes out, and Sealy from the Color Purple defended him very well.
Pat Beverly's a dog. Man, I take him on my team all day.
I'm good. I don't want Patrick
all day.
Patrick Beverly had his highlight of the year, comes out, defends Lonzo Ball, bullies Lonzo Ball.
Bullied him.
And the Clippers lost. By the way, shout out to One True who said.
The Clippers didn't lose that game.
Who said that.
Clippers didn't lose that game.
No, the Clippers, they won the game.
You said Clippers lost.
My bad. Clippers.
Lakers lost.
Blake Griffin took control of the game,
right.
started on the right
Julius
foot
Randle.
for his MVP.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Jordan
He did what?
Started to get his foot in the right direction for the
All
MVP.
Right. Now you're talking crazy. Come on.
Anyway, the Clippers win the game. Patrick Beverly got his one moment of shine. Probably won't hear from him again until he hurts somebody else. So the questions reigned about Lonzo Ball. Then he comes out against the Phoenix Suns, as you mentioned, almost posted a triple-double. But the bigger issue was he looked comfortable.
Right.
He had his NBA legs under him. Well, I'll say that from my point. I felt like he looked comfortable. What were your impressions after the first two games? Not just one game, but the first two games.
Well, I think in order to talk about the both, you have to kind of break them down because you're going up against an elite-level defender and a guy who's going to get after it in Pat Beverly. We know that he's not the greatest offensive player, but defensively he is aggressive. First team all defense, et cetera, all those wonderful things. His whole job was to rattle Lonzo Ball.
And he didn't do that.
He did do that. The man shot 1 for 6 and played awful. And they lost. Let me finish.
Hold on. Let me throw this out there. Because you want to break it up. So I want to contest that point. He had a bad game the first Summer League game. He had a bad game his first game in college.
We ain't talking about that. We talking about the
I know what we're talking
game.
about, but let's put some context.
But having a bad game because somebody can't defend you just missing shots versus having a bad game because a guy's in your face from literally 95 feet as soon as you inbound the ball is different. I mean, he had turnovers, things that you typically weren't seeing of him at the high school or college level. I mean, Pat Beverly literally picked his pockets clean. Like he's running the 20 for lunch money.
Too much credit.
He's a defender. That's what he does. I give the man credit. He's a good you can downplay it all you want. He's a good defender, and he plays with a lot of grit. You like Russell Westbrook for the same level of grit, even though he don't play no defense, but you want to sit here and bash. You want to bash Pat Beverly for playing defense.
I think there's a difference between playing terrific defense and being an agitator. I think there's a point.
Tony Allen does the same thing. Is he a good defender?
Yeah, but I've never ever seen Tony Allen take, I don't want to call them cheap shots, but ever put somebody out of a game. I've never seen Tony Allen.
Who did he put out of the game?
Who did Patrick Beverly put out of the game?
He didn't put Lonzo Ball. Oh, come on. Come on. We talking about the knee injury 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
But that's the point. I'm building a case.
He didn't look like he did that on purpose. That was
my point is, to answer your question, I'm going to give you back to Mike. My point is, Tony Allen is a great defender. Marc Gasol is a great defender. There are other great defenders in the league that don't need to do those things to make you think they're a good defender. I don't mistake his effort for achievement. I think he's more of an agitator than a great defender. I think he fouls you 1,000 times and the referee can only call 500 of them.
Okay. You don't make NBA all-defense by being just somebody who's an agitator. You have to actually defend, okay? Otherwise, guys like Steve Nash, and other guys, How about, big time talker, DeMarcus Cousins? He'd be all NBA all-defense because he's a big time talker.
He's one
an
of the better
agitator,
defenders in the league.
but he's not anywhere near the top of at the big man.
Finish your point about Lonzo Ball.
So he came out, he played against him. He got rattled a little bit. He made a statement, and if you watch the press conference afterwards, he said, "Listen, welcome to the NBA." In so many words, with certain expletives that we can't say here, family show. But what we will say is that, Lonzo didn't let that rattle him. He took the L on the chin, said, you know what? I lost. I need to be a better player. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do better. And he played against the Phoenix Suns, who obviously don't have that kind of perimeter defender. I mean, Eric Bledsoe's good, but not great. Stays hurt a lot, etc. He's a little undersized compared to Ball. And Ball had his way. The shot looked good. He was actually getting it off. He was hitting shots. He was passing. He was rebounding. So he had a much better game. Now, the big thing is, which Lonzo Ball are we likely to see the rest of the year? Are we going to see triple-double ball? Or are we going to see the 1-for-6 ball? I think we're going to see a little bit of the in-between.
I think you're going to see maybe not a transcendent rookie as some,
but a very good one.
Exactly, a special.
A very
rookie.
good point guard rookie too. I think better than Malcolm Brogdon, who won Rookie of the Year.
I was more impressed with Ball against the Clippers than I was against the Suns, because it's easy. It's easy to quit. It's very easy to quit when the chips are down and when everyone's going against you. It's easy to back down. I don't think Patrick Beverley punked Lonzo Ball the way Rob Parker tried to insinuate, or actually went as far as to say he did. I think what Patrick Beverley did was he got up to play Lonzo Ball.
He did, and Lonzo Ball didn't get up to play him.
I was just about to say, it's like...
Because he's like, who is Pat Beverley?
Exactly.
He doesn't know him yet.
Right,
He'll know him now next time they play, though.
I bet you he hands him his ass the next time they play.
I like a bet on that. I don't think he does.
I bet you he hands him that. Because one thing about Patrick Beverley is a Monday player. Every Monday, he'll give you something. Those other 6 days during the week, you ain't going to hear from Patrick Beverley.
It's not his job to give you something. All he has to do is play defense.
But he's supposed to play defense every time he steps in court. And just because he found a rookie who wasn't on the same level or wavelength as everyone else, was a rookie. So he took advantage of it. Great.
We'll see. They play him again. They play him a couple times a year.
We're going to see Sealy again. And karma has no expiration date.
That's fair.
And Patrick Beverley is coming. Now, we talked about Russell Westbrook's injury. We talked about Lonzo Ball's initiation to the NBA. Celtics. Gordon Hayward. You've been watching sports for a long time.
I saw it live. And when it happened, I turned like, ooh. It reminded me of the Paul George. It reminded me of Paul George in the Olympics. Kevin Ware in the NCAA tournament. It looked so bad.
I didn't think it was...
I thought for a minute, like the way his foot turned inward. His foot shouldn't be facing the other way.
His foot was facing California. His body was facing New Jersey.
Exactly. Yeah. It was wild. It was just like, I mean, I don't think the shock of it had hit him right away when it happened.
Oh, I think it did.
Well, when he looked down at it and he let out that scream, that's when it hit him. And you saw the turn right come around. And at this point, I'm going to be honest with you, the Celtics might be a 5 seed now. Might be a 5 seed. So
that was going to be my question. How significant
Oh, yeah, I know it was coming. Because Kyrie was looking for him to be his running mate, his wingman. He was supposed to be the Robin to his Batman. Because Al Horford at this point is on the back end of his career, so he's not a wingman anymore. He's more like Batgirl to Batman and Robin. And that's no disrespect to Al Horford. But
no disrespect to you're like Batgirl, but no disrespect.
He's like the third wing. He's Nighthawk. He's somebody who's totally irrelevant in the conversation of superheroes, but he's there. But the point I'm making is that losing Gordon Hayward, who's a 20-point per game guy, all-star player, a guy who some say arguably is underrated in terms of his talent because he played in Utah in a small market. A lot of people didn't get to see him play, but he was the feature piece. Him and the Stifle Tower were the two feature pieces in Utah, and now he comes to Boston. They add Kyrie, and now they got a chance to be a legitimate team to maybe take Cleveland to 6 games instead of losing in 5. All right, so now they're going to not even get past the first round of the playoffs no matter who they play because they're not better than Washington. They're not better than Cleveland. To be honest with you, I mean, based on what I saw of them playing the Sixers, I don't really think they're better than the Sixers. I just think that the Sixers, M.V.P shoots 4 for 40 or whatever he shot, and that's why they lose, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure. But the point I'm making is that injury, definitely changed the way. You already know I'm going to grind him up. Listen, changes the way that they now have to do the whole season. Now Brad Stevens has a coach. Because it's easy when he's got a guy he knows. Well, he's good at that.
He's good at that.
But you're trying to reel in a guy like Kyrie, who's used to being, offensive guy, shoot, not really make guys better. You got to figure out how to get this rookie and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who's a second-year guy, who, by the way, looks really good right now. Looks really good. I'm going to give him credit. Looks really good. People thought, terrible pick, but he's starting to come into his own.
I never said that. And
I know.
You used the phrase grind me up. You did grind me up on that. I said, from what I heard from people that
he
was a good player and he was a good pick.
Good player.
You're going to think I'm crazy when I say this. I'm a big Gordon Hayward fan, and I'm not going to say prayers up. I save my prayers for things that really matter.
Because he'll play ball again.
Yeah, and he's got the best insurance the world can offer, so he'll get the best doctors.
A couple $1 million of reasons to stay home with his wife and have kids.
This is the best scenario for the Celtics as a team. Because you know why? Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are now going to get those minutes. The Celtics weren't winning the title this year.
That's fair.
They weren't even going to.
As long as LeBron is in the East, they weren't winning the title.
But I picked them to lose, to get upset in the first round this year. Ooh. I thought they would be upset in the first round this year because I thought it was too many new parts.
Okay.
Too many new parts.
Takes a year to gel.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown now will get to learn on the floor, on the clock, They'll get to play at a fast pace with one of the best in-game coaches in the NBA. This is going to work for them.
They need a facilitator, though, and it's not Kyrie.
Well,
They need a facilitator. You don't have Avery Bradley.
I know you hate Marcus Smart, but he's a combo
Role
guard.
player at best.
And Kyrie has to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
So it's not going to change. So, I don't think Celtic fans should be concerned about the slow start because anytime point guard is one of the hardest positions to initiate in all of sports. Point guard and quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This is a good thing for them. Okay. As a Sixers fan, I'm saying that. This is a good thing for them because this is going to allow
those two because now the Sixers are almost guaranteed a playoff spot at this point.
Screw the Sixers. I'm talking about for the Celtics. For the Celtics, it's a good thing for them. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are going to develop by All-Star break. You're going to be looking at a new three-headed monster that's going to scare the bejesus out of the Eastern Conference. We'll be right back with more NBA Files.
This isn't Madison Square Garden. These drills probably won't make anyone a #1 draft pick. But these players are practicing for something important. While they work on their jump shots, they're also learning teamwork, discipline, self-confidence, how to deal with wins and losses. Skills that will make them winners long after they leave the court. Support high school activities in your community. Because when kids take part, they get set for life.
Welcome back to the NBA Files. Everett, Terry Jr., Kwame, Fisher Jones. I got to give Everett a little love. Everett hosts another show called My New Philly, hosts another called Trust the Process on My New Philly Network. Mondays on Facebook Live, 8 o'clock.
Correct.
Roughly 8 o'clock. They had a CPT time going.
Right, sometimes.
You guys had a great event. You went out, Blitz, bourbon, and Blitz, bow ties, and bourbon.
Correct.
And make sure you guys check that out. It's great stuff. Shout out to Malcolm Jenkins. Shout out to the lovely Mickey Grace. I got to make sure I don't cross that line of giving her.
Yeah, listen, everybody who saw her at the event said
no, don't even say that. Don't even say that. I don't want to get no charges.
She looked very nice.
I don't want to get no charges. Make sure you just check out that episode of Trust the Process. Show my man the love.
Appreciate it.
Mickey Grace. And I don't know Zach's last name. What's Zach's last name?
James.
Doesn't matter. Zach, show them dudes some love. All right, now back to my show, the NBA Files here.
Oh, only your show?
Yeah, my show. So you don't get to.
I'm just like a stunt double. I'm just a filling guy.
Trust the Process is Mickey's show.
What?
It's my show.
I'm out of here. Hey, producer.
So, all right. So we talked about the Celtics. We talked about Lonzo Ball. I want to finish some things up with the Celtics roughly before we transition to the next topic.
Okay.
Do you think the Celtic fans should be concerned about their slow start?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
1 and 2.
Not necessarily because of a slow start, but because of the fact they lost Gordon Hayward, who's going to be a key piece in helping them to become. I'm trying to tell you, listen.
They're deeper than a prostitute's vagina, though.
It's only a microcosm of what you're going to see throughout the year. Because what you're going to notice is Kyrie is going to go back to being the Kyrie of Cleveland. He'll put up decent stats, but they won't win anything.
What were your expectations going in for Boston?
2-3 seed in the East.
Really?
Yeah. I had them at the 2 or the 3. And that was only depending on Washington, because I think Washington's the second best team all in all in the Eastern Conference.
Healthy.
If Wall and Beal stay healthy. But the thing is, I've always liked Wall and Beal.
So what did you have Boston ending the season at? Losing the first round, conference finals?
Conference finals depending on how the matchups played.
See, I had them losing in the first round.
Because you had them playing Cleveland?
No, I had them being anywhere between 1 or 2 in the conference, but I had them losing to a 7 for AFC just because I felt like it was too many moving parts, and knowing Kyrie the way I know Kyrie, and not from a friendship point of view, but from a person that loves the game of basketball, studies the game of basketball, watches the game of basketball, coaches the game of basketball, I saw a guy who was going to have problems because you are who you are in this world.
Right.
You're not going to change your stripes. What is it? Bengal never changes his stripes. So I never thought for a moment that he was going to be this pass first or offense initiating guard.
Right.
He was going to be a shoot first, ask questions.
And what you do is you key on him and make everybody else beat you.
And you make him defer. You make him give the ball up.
Play out of his comfort zone.
Or you have 2 ways to go. You let him shoot himself out the game. What was he, 7 for 17 in Philly?
Yeah, he hasn't been exactly efficient.
Yeah, he's not efficient at all. So I don't think they should be concerned at all. I think that their future is very, very bright.
Oh, yeah, because they got younger and they got better.
They got younger, they got better, and they also have a pick. They also got an opportunity to get even better, and they've got money coming off the cap.
True.
Speaking of getting better, Speaking of being younger and in their prime and getting better and better, my man, Russell Westbrook, started the season the way he ended the last season. And make sure you check out the final report or whatever I called it. We'll get a name for it. Where I talked about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook opened the season with a triple-double.
Okay.
Impressions of that performance.
I mean, all right.
Here we go. Here we go. Here comes the diss.
No, there's no diss. He had a triple-double. Listen, I got him in fantasy. He was the number one pick. I hope he hits a triple-double every game this year. This is the year I want him to get it. I got him in fantasy. Go
Wait a minute.
But
Okay,
from a basketball point of view, you know what he didn't do that he's finally starting to do better? He didn't shoot them out of the game. He passed the ball. Paul George had 28. Carmelo had 22. I mean, what he's realizing is, you know what? I've got some guys around me that can actually play, so I'm going to give up the ball. And I've said the same thing I've always said. If he had learned how to do that better, not do it more, just do it better when he played with Kevin Durant, they might have actually won an NBA title.
Burner account?
Mr. NBA champion.
Burner account?
Mr. NBA champion, Kevin Durant.
Who ran and got his big brother?
Mr. NBA champion, Kevin Durant.
Who went and got his big brother? Look, I'm not going to
Mr. NBA champion, Kevin Durant.
This question is about Kevin Durant.
By the way, MVP, finals MVP.
This is about showing adulate or showing some admiration, some love for Russell Westbrook.
I showed him some love. I said he did better of deferring the ball.
You need to show more love. Look,
I don't have a bromance with him. That's your job.
Look, when you take away all the fluff, all the biss that you like to throw out there, you had a guy who lost the greatest scorer in the game today, Kevin Durant, lost an active defender in Serge Ibaka, lost one of the toughest players in Dion Waiters.
Come on. We're not putting Dion Waiters in any sort of a loss that matters.
It didn't matter because he went to Miami and played well.
Listen, they added Oladipo for Dion Waiters. That's a push at best.
Stop it.
Depot's significantly more talented than Waiters.
And he's significantly more underperforming, underwhelming,
but he's as talented. So it wasn't like when they got him, they felt that they were losing anything.
The point of the matter, the fact of the matter is, the bottom line is Russell came back, gives you a triple-double, and they win. So the one thing he did this year that he didn't do last year wasn't about deferring. One thing he did when he had Kevin Durant that he is doing now, it's about winning. And Russell's going to do what it takes to win that game. And I've said it here on the show, mark the tape. Everybody's talking about Houston. Everyone's talking about San Antonio. OKC, the boys, they need to be worried
Houston
about.
got problems.
Do they?
Yeah, they got problems.
Do they? Oh, well, you know what? I believe that was next. Do tell.
Yeah, they're coming up.
Do tell. What's going on in Houston?
Well, it's the same
hold on. Let me get a cup of tea. I can't find a cup. Tell me what's going on in Houston.
Listen.
I'm listening.
CP3 is injured, man.
What year is this? Is this 2010? No, it's 2007. No, it's 2013. What year is this? What year is this?
Listen, he played on a strained foot. Didn't play.
What year is this?
Well.
Is it 2017?
It is. He's injured.
Is George W. Bush in office?
No.
Chris Paul is hurt again, ladies and gentlemen, and water's wet.
Oh.
Skittles are good.
Oh, man.
Reese's peanut butter cups. What else do you want me to tell people that they don't already know? Chris Paul is always hurt. Don't make the disgruntled face. I tried to save you. I said, Everett, come over to my side. No, Chris Paul is a pit bull. He's a great player.
He'll play when it matters.
He's going to do something great.
It's just, now it's back to being the James Harden show, and they'll just have to learn how to play together when he comes back in 2 to 4.
It's always the James Harden show.
I don't disagree with
Chris
you.
Paul just rented there.
That's fine, but what I'm saying is,
how long is he out for?
2 to 4. Not a long time.
2 to 4. 2 to 4.
He might be back sooner.
So wait a minute. So he could be gone for 10 days, or he could be gone for 30 plus days. You know what that sounds like? You ever get work done in your house, and you say, how much is it going to cost me? Give me an estimate. Could cost you a lot, could cost you a little.
Aww.
He could be gone for a long time, he could be gone for a little time.
He ain't going to be going that long. It's just a knee strain.
Look,
it's not a big deal.
Look. Don't unhitch your wagon to the CP3 donkey.
I like him. I don't know what you want me to say.
Why? How many times does he have to? You should be about production. How many times do you have to miss the conference finals for you to say, he's all right, but he's not real? Look, Houston will be fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah,
they'll win a lot of games. James Harden will burn out towards the end of the season. They'll make it to the second round. Well, do I?
He'll help him.
How is a person? Look, you're not going to suck me into that argument. You're not going to suck me into that argument. I want to talk about the team Chris Paul left.
What about
We touched on them a little bit with the Lakers.
What about him?
Can Blake Griffin sustain this level of play?
Against the Lakers, if he played them 82 times, sure.
Why won't you give Blake Griffin any love?
Because the same reason you won't give Chris Paul up.
I do give Chris Paul up, but he is
in this world. That's what you said, right?
Okay.
Blake Griffin is a guy who will give you decent stats and come up short in the playoffs, not enough to get you past any sort of hump or hurdle. He needs to play with another counterpart that is as alpha dominant as him. If he had a Paul George, now we'd be talking about the Clippers being a potential Western Conference finalist team because they'd have a horse with Blake being the most dominant inside man in the Western Conference still to play. Because honestly, as much as I love Anthony Davis, he's hurt way more than Blake Griffin, and Blake Griffin could dominate him in a game. There's nobody else in the West at the big position from the 4 that scares me. Karl Anthony Towns plays the Karl Anthony Towns plays the 4, but Minnesota's got to learn how to win first. But outside of that, what I'm saying is Blake Griffin is probably the most balanced offensive player in the Western Conference right now.
All right, we got 2 minutes. 2 minutes left in the segment. I'm taking Chris Paul. You got Chris Paul. You got Blake Griffin.
They're 5 years old. It's 5-year age difference.
Okay, but hold on. The Clippers made a decision, decided to go with Blake Griffin.
The same way Shaq and Kobe did. Right.
Chris Paul is now facing something that could be catastrophic to his career. He could be missing out on getting a max contract by this injury. Because at this point, when his contract's up, he'll be 36. He'll be 36, 37-year point guard.
33. Stop it.
Will it be when his contract's up?
Yes, he's only 5 years older than Blake Griffin.
Okay, I gotta check.
Blake Griffin is Blake Griffin 31?
I don't think he's 33. Okay. I don't think he's 33.
We'll check that.
He'll be on the overside for an NBA point guard.
He'll be the overside of 30.
Significant wheel injuries.
Okay.
Habitual wheel injuries.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas is another player I want to interject in this conversation. Another guy he's younger, but he's also a dude that you have to have questions about going forward. So if you're an NBA team, right now I'm scrapping the run down here. Mm-hmm. You've got Chris Paul sitting there. I don't know if you're a team that needs a point guard.
Right on the fringe, and you're missing just a point guard.
Would you sign a Chris Paul at this, knowing his career, knowing where he's been, knowing what's going on right now?
Let me think of teams that need a point guard. The New Orleans Pelicans, absolutely.
No.
If I'm the Pelicans, I give Chris Paul the money to bring him back on home and put him with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins.
Why would the Pelicans make that move? Why would you? He's already been there. He's left them once, and he's failed them once. Why would you revisit that?
Because he didn't have Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins when he left.
But yeah, Tyson Chandler, who's an NBA champion, and David West, who was one of the top power forwards at his time in that time frame. He was an all-star.
Oh, come on.
He was an all-star.
All-star is a fantasy test. It's fanfare.
Enough. We'll come back and talk about Giannis
Popularity.
What is it? Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Oh my God. Yeah, before you butcher the man's name anymore, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I need you to learn that.
LeBron James owned you. Let's say it again.
Antetokounmpo.
And we're going to talk about.
He didn't own him. The man put 34 up. He didn't own him.
No, he didn't. I just had to mess with you a little bit because I know that's your boy.
I like Giannis.
We'll be back with more NBA Files.
All right.
Maybe you see something suspicious, but you don't want to get involved. It's nothing, you think. Can you be sure? If you see something, say something. Report suspicious activity to local authorities.
Welcome back to the NBA Files. Now we're going to talk. I'm going to stop saying we're going to talk. I feel like I'm saying that.
Yeah, you're saying. Listen, you know what I do want to talk about? Since we're talking about guys that get contracts that are injury prone, let's talk about Mr. Joel Embiid, because on the last show we did, you said the Sixers were getting away from Embiid and there was no way they were going to give him a contract. Then they turned around and gave him a contract.
There was no way they was going to give him a contract.
You said they're getting away from Joel Embiid. He's not in your future plans.
To get away from him.
And then he turned around the next day and gave him a max contract for dumb money.
Well.
Dumb money.
You know what? Go ahead.
And the way we're going to argue this is there's no way, and I've been arguing this with folks for the last 2 weeks, there's no way I'm giving a guy that's played 31 games $148 million. I don't care what the injury clauses are. I don't care what's written in the deal. He was a restricted free agent. He's going to have to earn it and prove it to me. And if he walks, he walks. I get why they did it, because they figured they wouldn't have to he would hold all the leverage if he played well. But the thing is, there's nothing you see that's shown you that making him play on a prove-it contract was going to work out against you. Nothing.
You know what? And that you're 100% right. But here's the problem. And I'm going to add some, because I really didn't think I needed to get back into that, but I will. The Sixers had to get home over there last night.
Yeah.
Was that sucker sold out?
Yeah.
Why do you think it was sold out?
Because they wanted to see Embiid Simmons.
Because the dumb, deaf, and blind will always come and support ridiculousness. The dumb, deaf, and blind
They
are
want
the
to see
ones,
Embiid Simmons.
people that want to see Embiid Simmons are you and I. The people who just want to be a part of something were the people that paid the 5th highest ticket prices in the NBA. And that was last year. That's not even this year. Think about that. The Sixers have been not bad, not horrendous, but
Putrid.
wretched for the last few years, and they still managed to conjure up the 5th highest ticket prices in the NBA.
Had the
Why do you think that
unmitigated
is?
gall.
Why do you think that is?
Because people are stupid.
Because the dumb, deaf, and blind follow the process.
It's always about money.
And that's why you have Joel Embiid. It wasn't that Brian Colangelo wanted to re-sign Joel Embiid. It was that Joel Embiid allegedly, people came up allegedly and said, we're not going to play until we have a contract. So Brian Colangelo allegedly says, okay, I need to see some practice. Then they had to find an insurance company to bite on that contract. So it wasn't Brian Colangelo and Joel Embiid's people at a negotiating table. It was insurance company A going through a 70-page document, front and back, to give to Joel Embiid's people. He'll never see that money because he'll never be healthy. The Sixers have a back-to-back game scheduled today.
He's already sitting.
Exactly. And it would have been the third game in 4 nights. When you watch Joel Embiid play, he allegedly is healthy. Does he look healthy to you?
He played terrible.
Does he look healthy to you?
Does he look healthy to me?
Because he can run up and down the court? What is a big man supposed to do?
Run up and down the court.
And post up in the paint. When was the last time you seen Joel Embiid post up in the paint?
He's an outside guy, though. The NBA is getting away from post
You can
big.
say that, but his points in the paint have decreased game after game after game after game.
Because he realized he can shoot threes.
Or because what do you do when you're tired? You play street basketball.
Yeah, you shoot jumpers.
Exactly. What do you do when you don't have your legs?
You shoot jumpers.
And what has Joel Embiid been doing the last 2 games?
Jumpers.
So I don't mean to bore anybody with this, but the same individuals who told me this dude was not healthy and he wasn't going to play till All-Star break, are the same people who told me watch him play, or the same people who told me, yo, look at the contract. Now I haven't seen the contract, but doing research,
it's heavily written with injury clauses.
It protects the Sixers.
Yeah.
What NBA athlete signs a non-guarantee or partially guaranteed contract? Even your co-host would admit, me thinks that smells a little fat.
Well, I'm going to hit you with this one, and this is where I get it, but I don't get it, because like I said, I understand. But let me ask you a question. Could the Mr. LeBron James turn around and say to the Cleveland Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert, listen, I'm going to play 41 games a year, you're going to give me $150 million? Could Chris Paul, could Steph Curry,
No.
could Kevin Durant, could any of these players say
No.
that and that'd be okay?
No.
But somehow people in their minds in this city have justified the fact that Embiid can play half a year and say things like, well, if he gives us 40 games, that's okay. You're giving him $140 million for 40 games. He'll never play a back-to-back. And you're okay with that. Yet the greatest people got mad when LeBron wanted to sit playing 3 games in 4 nights. But you want to get mad at Joel Embiid for sitting on back-to-backs. You want to justify that. It confuses me.
Dumb, deaf, and blind. And I try to lay off the Sixers.
They just want a reason to be happy. They just want a reason to believe in the
Well,
Sixers
no, they
again.
don't want a reason to be happy. They want to justify their jubilation.
Right. They want to find a reason to be happy.
They've got another problem on their hands. The jig is up with Markelle Fultz.
Oh, yeah, he stinks.
I wouldn't say he stinks. Remember, I went on a show, I won't say the name, because I've already plugged your show enough.
Thanks.
And I put together 4 extensive video clips of games I'd watched with Markelle Fultz where I could show you.
I'm going to ask Perry about that, too.
Well, he refused to let me speak.
Right.
And I have not been back on your show since.
That's true.
And probably will never go back, but that's no diss to anybody. But the point is, there were significant holes in Markelle Fultz's game.
We're seeing.
And when you hear Lakers, Celtics pass, you raise questions. The bigger issue I have is the Sixers are misusing him.
Yeah.
He's a guy that just needs to go.
Just have the ball and just play.
So they never
Can't
should
play
have
off the
drafted him.
ball.
But why the hell is C.J. McConnell on the court?
T.J. McConnell?
Why there should be no backup point guard? It should be Markelle Fultz in the
agree.
second unit.
I was gonna say, and
It should be Eddie Kane in the 5 heartbeats.
If I'm running the Sixers today, my thing is my starting 5 is gonna be Simmons, Redick, Covington, whoever they put at the 4, whether it's Rashawn Holmes or whomever, and Embiid. That's gonna be the 5 that I start. And then off the bench, it's gonna be Fultz, Okafor, because I don't know why on God's earth a healthy Okafor doesn't play. Fultz, Okafor. Teller Lawalu, whatever his name is. Nick Stauskas can stink it up for a couple shots.
I like
and
that. Has Stauskas even played?
I don't think so. And maybe just let Emeka Okafor run out there for a second, or Chris Humphries or somebody. It doesn't matter.
I can answer your question.
But the point is, this is what the unit should look like. Markelle Fultz should run the B unit until he learns how to get up to NBA speed. Because right now, it looks like he's playing at a different speed than everybody else around him.
When have you ever said that about a first overall pick? When have you ever heard someone
Michael
say,
Olowokandi was the last
we
one I
have to
remember.
teach him a part of basketball. We have to fix. They're teaching the first overall pick in the NBA. No. How to play basketball. How to play how to play basketball.
Well, his free throw shot's broken too. It's awful.
It's
Have
not.
you seen it?
It's.
I don't know if it's mechanics.
I'm not going to rip
It looks
Markelle.
so bad.
I'm not going to rip Markelle.
It's not really, I don't know if it's really his fault.
Yeah,
like,
because they're trying.
they bought into the hype.
Well, no, they got swindled by
That's what I'm
Swindler
saying. They
in
bought into the
Boston.
hype. Yeah, Danny Ainge hustled him again.
But going back to Okafor's got to decide to man up, man. He needs a little bit more Malcolm and a little less Martin. He needs to stand up for himself. He needs
lost
to fight
weight,
back.
came back looking
Well, you know what?
decent.
He's a karate man. He gets angry on the inside.
Right.
So he needs to let that manifest itself outside. There's no
You
reason.
don't want him to be DeMarcus Cousins, though.
I want him. Yeah, I kind of do. Because here's why. They're putting him on the bench and say, all right, Jalil, you'll play when Joel doesn't. Where they do that at? Look at this is my resume. This is Joel's.
Right.
Why I got to wait for him to get hurt? And when Joel gets hurt, I'm not wishing injury, but it's going to happen.
Right.
Then they'll start playing Joel. They're going to start playing Okafor, and then they're going to try to incorporate him into the offense. It shouldn't work that way. He should be playing with Fultz. He should be playing. He should be playing over Serge.
Sorry. Dario is the other one I said should be out there. Yeah, Dario.
Well, Dario, I'm not too big. I mean, I like Dario.
he's okay.
And it made me
He's
sit
a
up.
stretch four,
What's special about it? He plays hard.
He reminds me of a young Ilyasova.
He reminds me of Bob Thornton. I'm dating myself, but he reminds me of Bob Thornton from the Sixers. He plays hard, and because your expectations, I've always said this to you: when you expect a lot, you're gonna be expect to be disappointed.
We agree.
When you expect little, you'll get more.
Yeah.
People didn't expect much out of Dario. Slow-footed European players. Then he came out and he was tough, which everyone knew. Had a high basketball IQ, what everyone knew. But I think he's ceilinged out. That's why he didn't win the Rookie of the Year. He had a good second year of the season, but now they got footage on him. I think Jalil has a higher ceiling than each. And I've said this, I'm going on record. Okafor will have a better NBA career than Embiid and then Serge. And I don't care where he winds up. I don't care who his coach is. You give Okafor the minutes. People keep saying he can't defend. He can be an on-ball defender. Can he defend in space, which is what Brett Brown's system is? The hell out of here. Why would they draft him? Another issue. But
that wasn't him though.
He was less. He wasn't as vocal about not wanting to be here as Porzingis and as some of the other players. So they took the guy that would complain the least, and now Okafor is paying for it. We got another 1 minute left, right? Your Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Your Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Talk to me about them. Because they came out and got handed to them by the Spurs. I believe they won a nail without Kawhi.
Okay.
Without Tony Parker.
Still great Popovich. Second greatest NBA coach of all time.
I'm sorry. How many jumpers did he make?
Doesn't matter.
How many screens did he set?
He's better than Tom Thibodeau.
How many dunks did he? Okay, it's always something with
the master of deception. Go ahead.
How long?
What's the second? What's your second point?
Talk to me about your Minnesota Timberwolves. And here, I'm gonna pose a question.
You want to talk about moving parts? There's a lot of parts there that change.
They're a team that a lot of people thought
transition.
would be top 5 seed in the West.
I'll give them a 5 seed. They can still make a 5 seed.
I'm gonna put it on record right now. I think the Sixers have a better record than the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, we can bet that all week.
We don't need to bet it because I might cut that tape out. But no, I stand by that. I think Minnesota's going to have some issues unless they make a trade. Jimmy Butler hasn't looked comfortable, and they haven't looked like they're sharp.
Well, it's because he's not a 3. He's a 2. You playing him out of position to give Wiggins more room. And it should be the other way around. Wiggins needs to adjust to him.
And they're losing.
Okay.
They're leading on Andrew Wiggins. We'll be right back. Everett, Terry Jr., Kwame Fisher-Jones. I'm going to liven the room up some.
Hey, I'm here.
Everybody's a little tired right now. I think Embiid sucked the wind out of him.
That he did.
What? We're going to talk about, we're going to jump more in Embiid because I want to know why you're so angry. Why did you not see this happening? It's like you parked in the no parking zone and they're shocked and angry that you got a ticket. We'll be right back. NBA Files.
Breast Cancer Network of Strength invites you to join the Walk to Empower.
We need that support. It's a lot of love.
Come join us on Mother's Day. Thank you.
Welcome back to the NBA Files. Everett Terry Jr. of Trust the Process, Kwame Fisher-Jones of the NBA Files. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow on Facebook. Get our likes up so I can get my paper up.
There we go.
Point blank. All right. before we go to the Undefeated, did a top 50 remake.
Drugs.
We're gonna say that for the end. I disagree with Steve Nash, but we'll say that to the end. I want to wrap up though. We talked Chris Paul already being hurt. We dived into the Minnesota Timberwolves briefly. We dived into some things. What's your biggest surprise of the first week of the season?
Biggest surprise. Golden State hasn't looked exactly crisp.
Missing Draymond Green.
Missing
Draymond.
No, they had Draymond. I mean, they won last night against the Pelicans, but that game was a lot closer than it should have been. The Pelicans are not a very balanced basketball team.
I told you Golden State's on the way out. Mine was Giannis.
Ooh,
his development.
Okay.
And I know
he's definitely take a step to that next level. And I'm a big Giannis guy.
I was gonna say I know you've been blowing that trumpet for a long time, no homo. But I sit back and I watch this is what player development looks like. This is what happens when you draft a guy and you develop a guy. Giannis came out of the same draft as Michael Carter-Williams and Nerlens Noel, using the Sixers as an example. Neither one of those players are on the team that drafted him.
Right.
Rudy Gobert and Giannis were looked at as essentially projects. And somehow they've managed to turn into not just all-stars, but I would say top 5 at their position. I think it's safe to say Gobert's top 5 at his position.
Rudy's definitely top 5 at this position.
That's what player development looks like. So that's when you stop putting this on the player and saying he's not playing well.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. I give you that credit. But in the same breath that we say player development, and I guess we're talking about the organization at that point.
Yes.
Who else has Milwaukee developed?
Jabari Parker's been good. Tony
Injured.
Chris Middleton. Injured.
Chris Middleton's average. He's an average 2
Had you heard of him before then?
I haven't heard of him now. He's an average 2 guard. He's not an all-star. He's nothing that rings a bell.
But he's a good player. I take him on my squad. He's a good player.
He's an okay
guard. And Greg Monroe's kind of taking a step back.
And he didn't come from there.
And Thon Maker has come along, but he's still ways off. I would agree with you on that. The only reason why I question
Giannis is special.
I don't know if he was that. I agree he's special, but look, is he an MVP candidate? I say no.
What?
I don't think he's there yet.
I think he's a candidate, but I don't think he wins it simply because in order to do it, you have to be able to get up for certain games. And granted, he had a good game in terms of what he did against LeBron and them.
Critical moments.
But
the king was the king.
The ball got turned over too much. He made some mistakes. He wasn't able to elevate the play of the guys around him.
Say it.
And LeBron did what he needed to do. Listen, you know when you knew he wasn't a legitimate MVP candidate? When Giannis hit him with the up fake, LeBron stood there, let him get past him, and then beat the shot off the glass. I said he's not ready. I said he's still a year away.
And LeBron's not healthy.
No, he's not. He doesn't have the same bounce, the same spunk at all.
Leg. And I wonder if that ankle injury is more than they're leading on.
Right.
I won't be surprised if he takes
20.
20. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes about 10, 15 games off, which he should. I was just about to say,
at this point, he's got too many miles on his tires. He's only playing for finals anyway.
I don't think that Giannis is an MVP candidate, but I think he is a poster child. He epitomizes what's wrong in the NBA, player development. It never, ever gets highlighted. It's always the player. We just talked about Fultz. And then you look at Jaylen Brown. I'll throw you one better. I'm a bit early on this one, but because I'm a fan of the player, I can see it building. Ben Simmons. It's not gonna be long before Ben Simmons gets frustrated with the offense in Philadelphia. Here's why. Ben Simmons can't turn a corner. He's not a point guard. He has great vision.
Right.
He can distribute the ball. But exactly, he doesn't have the quickness or the suddenness to be a point guard. Why would you not take him and look at, and I'm dating myself, they don't run that anymore. The analytics guys are going to get mad. The UCLA pro offense or the Princeton offense would fit Ben Simmons. You would think they don't run that, but one of the misnomers, and this is why analytics and basketball guys differ, one of the misnomers about spacing or the NBA is, spacing is created by shooters. It's not. Spacing is created by ball movement and player movement. So no man is faster than the basketball. Right. So if you look at the Golden State Warriors, they've got 4 guys that can shoot, so everyone says. But they've got 5 guys who can move the basketball, which creates that space, which creates the shooters. Ben Simmons needed a finisher. You wanted Josh Jackson. I understood them not taking Josh Jackson because of the players because of the issues off the court. But Ben Simmons needed somebody who could move without the basketball and who could move the basketball. And you're seeing it now. You talk about moving at a different pace. Homeboy is moving at they're talking about Magic Johnson. He's pushing that sucker up and down the court. And he's got to wait for Embiid to trail to shoot a three-pointer at the top of the key. We can get that shot at any point in the shot clock. Why are you taking that with 15 minutes shot clock? Or Robert Covington taking fadeaway three-pointers. Mark my words, mark the tape. Won't be long before Ben Simmons complains. And it won't be long before you start hearing issues with him and Brett Brown. Just it's obvious, it's forthcoming.
I heard he's
He's a
fan of Brett Brown.
We're always fans until the whistle starts. Ben Simmons is I'm going to say a permanent malcontent, but he's not a guy that's going to settle for losing. And when he's stuck, his back's against the wall, he's going to complain about it. He's going to be vocal about it. He's not a bad guy, but he's that type of player. Now, speaking of disgruntled, frustration, Dominique Wilkins still has not made the 50 greatest players of all time. The Undefeated did a remix. For those who don't know, the Undefeated did a remix on it was 20 seasons, almost 20, it was 21 years ago. 96, 97.
Yeah.
96, 97 season, the remake of the 50 greatest players of all time, where the NBA celebrated its 50th season with the 50 greatest players. So now, the Undefeated from the ESPN magazine did a remake. Taking off of the old list, they took off Nate Archibald. I disagreed with that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm just going to go off the guys that disagree. And this is the dude that really got me ticked off. This is why we're talking about it. Pete Maravich.
How do you take Pistol Pete off?
And put Steve Nash on. That really crawled.
You know what
really
this screams to me?
butt.
I bet you a bunch of millennials did this.
No, they got Mark Wise. They got some guys on there that did this. I think
They probably argued for those guys, but got outvoted by millennials.
Yeah.
Who watch all
Clyde
their
Drexler's
stuff.
not on this list.
Like I said, millennials who watch all their stuff on ESPN Classics and YouTube.
Now, I understand Bill Walton, Lenny Wilkins,
We agree.
James Worthy, Wes Unseld, Sam
agree.
Jones, Dolph Shays, Robert Parrish, Dave Bring. I understand those guys. Nate Archibald.
Especially when you're
Pete Maravich.
replacing them with guys like Allen Iverson.
Ray Allen should not be
Allen.
on this list.
Paul Pierce should be on the list. Kobe
Steph
Bean
Curry
Bryant.
should not be on this list.
Not yet, but he will be.
Look, I'm going to give you the names that should not be on this list that are on there. And, I saved this part for it because Reggie Miller, Steve Nash, Steph Curry should not be on this list. And Ray Allen should not be on this list.
Okay.
Clyde Drexler should be on this list.
We agree.
Tiny Archibald should be on this list.
We agree.
Dominique Wilkins should be on this list. If I haven't already said his name, I'll say his name again and again and again and again and again. Should be on this list. And one of the issues I have with some of these players, when they have Bill Walton on there, everyone say, well, Bill Walton doesn't get hurt. They always laugh because if Andrew Toney doesn't get hurt, he's probably one of the greatest two guards of all time.
Right.
So, that did blow my mind. But I definitely think Pete Maravich should be on that list. Why is there so much love for Steve Nash?
Two-time MVP.
Give me something else. It's got to be more than that.
Two-time MVP. I mean, how many guys on there are two-time MVPs?
He only played one half of the court. Like, I could preach to the choir on this, but the bigger
Plenty
issue...
of guys that only play one half of the court that are considered great, but the argument is, you ask me why, I'm giving you why, because it isn't because he's an NBA champion, because he wasn't. It's because he was a two-time MVP. If he wasn't a two-time MVP, he's not on that list. But him being a two-time MVP...
Why is Reggie Miller on this list?
That I don't know. I mean, people argue that he was clutch. Everybody remembers the
wasn't
one game
really.
against the Knicks. I know. Everybody remembers the game against the Knicks, and he did the choking and that. Okay, fine. But, his resume just doesn't scream, hey, hey, is Gary Payton on that list?
No, he shouldn't be.
Gary Payton shouldn't be?
No, he should not be on
9-time
Yeah.
NBA first team all defense shouldn't be? The Glove, one of the greatest defending point guards in NBA
You
history?
can say it as slow as you want. No, he shouldn't be.
Okay.
And I'll jump to Gary Payton in a second. Reggie Miller did one thing good.
Shoot threes.
That's it.
And there's a bunch of guys that we already have in our names, Ray Allen, Steph Curry, who shoot threes better, and we already arguing they shouldn't be on the list.
I mean, Reggie Miller wasn't a guy that could put the ball on the floor.
No.
Reggie Miller wasn't a great defender. He was a good player
He was
in
a good player.
Indiana. The argument for Reggie Miller has always been that he put a small market team on the map. I disagree with that. Mel Counts, I think, kind of the Pacers were good with him, McGinnis as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't look at him putting them on the map in the sense that was the down day. Those are the dark days of the NBA. It was like the dark days of hip-hop with Apache and Queen Latifah was like the dark days of the NBA. Where a team like the Knicks and they're slow and Miami Heat, oh God, and they're 60. If you don't like basketball, you don't like the Heat with their 65 to 64 games against the Knicks. So, and I'm being real, you laughing, but so that
32-38.
yeah, and what was the point guard that played? I played with him. They used to have this play at the place called the Run and Shoot in Atlanta, and I played with this dude there, and he played for the Miami Heat, like Anthony Carter.
Oh, God.
I played basketball with Anthony Carter at the Run and Shoot in Atlanta, and he was a starting point guard for the Miami Heat. That shows you how bad the dark days were in the NBA. And I know there are a lot of guys that fight for Reggie Miller, but when people say he's clutch, I always say Kobe Bryant's on line one. Because when Reggie Miller had a time to be clutch at home in Indiana, Kobe Bryant made his name on that team.
That's true.
Kobe Bryant made his name in that league, and Kobe Bryant stole his thunder. That's why he needs to be taken off this list.
We agree.
Well, another name that rises. We talk Reggie Miller, talk Steve Nash, Ray Allen. Why is Ray Allen on this list?
Because before Steph Curry, he was the greatest three-point shooter ever in the history of basketball.
Bull.
And he could put the ball on the ground.
Larry Bird.
Stop it.
Larry Bird is a better shooter than Ray Allen.
Stop it.
Larry Bird is not a better shooter than Ray Allen.
Better shooter, not a better three-point shooter. Better shooter.
Semantics. Okay,
No.
Larry can shoot 28 feet instead of 29. Like, what do you? So you tell? Okay, game on the line. Game on the line.
Ray Allen. Ray Allen. It was a snap call.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered. Who's your favorite team?
The Lakers.
Okay, enough said.
What's that to do
Enough
with it?
said. Because you hate the Celtics.
I don't hate the Celtics.
There's nowhere in the world you can tell me that Larry Bird is not a better shooter
Larry
than Ray
Bird
Allen.
was one of the most clutch players of all time. He could hit that fadeaway turn jumper,
And make
that
the pass.
slow jumper, and make the pass. And he was a great basketball player. He did on all ends and defended. But I'm talking strictly from a three-point perspective. If I need a three to win the game, I'm going Ray Allen 10 out of 10. There's no second guess about it. He was the best catch and shoot in the history of basketball. His
Dominic
numbers
Wilkins.
prove it.
Why is Dominic Wilkins still not on this list?
Great dunker, not much else. Great dunker. Vince Carter's a great dunker. What else does he do? He wasn't an all-world defender. He couldn't shoot worth anything.
I actually think Vince Carter should be on this list. And I was gonna
I agree over Dominique Wilkins. Because what Dominique did, Vince did better.
No.
Vince is the greatest dunker we've ever seen. Stop it.
But that doesn't. Okay, Vince Carter is the greatest dunker we've ever seen. Agreed.
And he actually did things better than Dominique, like shoot jumpers.
But if that's
And put the ball on the floor.
If you lose to the greatest, you're still great. If you lose to the greatest,
Dominique Wilkins wasn't a good defender
let me
either,
just
though.
throw some names at you. Kevin Willis,
Okay.
Glenn Rivers,
Good player. Good player.
Glenn Rivers, Johnny Koncak.
No.
Those were the dudes Dominique Wilkins played ball with.
Come on.
Those were, hold on, but you say, come on. Everyone makes the argument of your teammates. Them dudes were who he played ball with.
So who?
Mike Fratello.
So who were the all-world players that Vince Carter played with?
No, I agree. I said
Okay.
Vince Carter should be, I believe.
Right. But I'm saying if you're going to give me
thunder,
one or the other, I'm going to take Vince.
I'm not giving you one or the other. I'm saying Dominique Wilkins should be on this list over Ray Allen. Vince Carter should be on this list over Reggie Miller. I'm not even batting an eye. And another guy that I really think should get more consideration, and I understand people aren't going to ever give it to him or whatever the case may be, but Dominique Wilkins should be. Dominique Wilkins, if you got to take Dominique Wilkins over Paul Pierce, I'm taking Dominique Wilkins.
I'm not. Paul Pierce played both ends of the floor, and he was clutch, and he's a
There were a
champion.
few years when Paul Pierce was a top defender. When you talk about.
He did everything better than Dominique except dunk. Name one thing Dominique did better than Paul Pierce beside dunk.
Rebound.
Stop it.
Rebound and score.
No, he was not
Paul
a better
Pierce
scorer
was a
than Paul
better
Pierce.
shooter. I gotta look up the numbers because I
If
tend to.
I force Dominique Wilkins to make any shot outside the paint, he's ineffective. If he can get to the paint, yes, I'm gonna give you that. If he can get 2 feet from the basket, he's gonna beat me all day. But if I force him to step anywhere outside of the box in the paint, he's ineffective at scoring. He's not a better scorer than Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce could hit from anywhere. Anywhere.
Okay. Patrick Ewing. Dominique Wilkins or Patrick Ewing?
That's a toss-up.
It is not a toss-up!
I think either one. Listen, I wasn't a fan of either one. Pat Ewing he was a good player.
It's not a toss-up.
He's an okay player, solid player. I don't think that he's a 50 greatest. Hall of Famer, okay, but I don't think he's, this guy that was transcendent. No.
Pete Maravich and Dominique Wilkins should be on this list.
Pete Maravich for sure. Tiny Nate Archibald for sure.
I feel like I feel like they're offending me by trying to tell me that Steve Nash was a better player than Pete
We
Maravich.
agree Steve Nash should not be on that list.
And nowhere near that list. That's it for this edition of NBA Files. Make sure you check us out at thenbafiles.com if you missed any segment of this show or just want to relive the magic. And please follow us on Facebook at the NBA Files. We'll be back more next week with more NBA insight, irreverency that you will get nowhere else. For Everett Terry Jr. Everett Terry Jr.
That's me.
Everett Terry Jr. New Video Productions. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. We will see you next week. As always, we appreciate your time here. Peace.